Killing the Thresher Maw has produced several breeding requests for Grunt, and one for Shepherd.
Sorry, we're kinda taken.
He's a tin-can hitman. Try to catch him if you can. Secret robo-agent with a secret robo-plan. Don't you dare get in.
Next on the list of loyalty missions is Jack, who wants to burn things! Specifically, the facility that housed her in a wash of nuclear fire. She has kind of a twisted memory over the whole thing, remembering nothing but pain, loneliness, and ostracization.
They tortured you just to see if they could make a strong biotic? That's it?
Wasn't in a position to ask, Shepherd. All I know is a little girl crying in a cell. They thought they were so clever. Turns out, mess with someone's head enough and you can turn a scared kid into an all-powerful bitch. Fucking idiots.
Agreed. So, yeah, time for closure in the name of Subject Zero. We need more DACA, anyways. The place is pretty run down, the invasive plant life of the Helheim forest outside creeping into the facility that was built to last its damage.
The elusive man requested operation logs. It's vicious. When we get results, he won't care what we did. But if he knew, he won't find out.
Sounds like this facility went rogue.
Ah, so this was a Cerberus operation. I was beginning to get worried. But as we travel through, we noticed someone's turned the power back on as Jack gives us the tour.
That's right. They used to stage fights here. Pit me against other kids. I loved it. Only time I was ever out of my cell.
The only reason I brought Miranda with, in case you're curious, was to see what dialogue options would result. See if she'd falter in her Cerberus cheerleader approach at all by seeing the atrocities Harper let happen by recruiting the people he does. The fact that nearly every Cerberus operation is made up of just terrible people means this is indicative of their status quo, and how Miranda can uphold her disconnect continues to baffle me. I really hope there's an explanation in some expanded universe material that explains her breaking from the organization after she scoffs at all the evidence presented to her over the course of this game, for her to no longer be allied with them in Mass Effect 3. Though maybe it has something to do with her father funding the organization again during the 6-month gap between 2 and 3.
All subjects besides Zero are expendable. Keep Jack alive.
And this is where things begin to not match up so well, continuing to grow as we proceed through the facility. Well, yes, she got it the hardest and longest. Not like that! Everyone else was expendable, put through more lethal experiments, so if they killed them, they wouldn't try them on her. She was to be their perfect little biotic killing machine, after all. At least in the end, they were spared the pain of living, though it is concerning whatever survived this place was rolled back into the Alliance's biotic training programs. But someone's trying to start that all up again, as we find more of the Blood Pack having set up shop here, and a former victim planning to become an abuser.
I tried to forget this, but a place like this, it doesn't forget you. It follows you. We're rebuilding it piece by piece. I'm gonna find out what they knew, how to unlock true biotic potential in humans. I'm restarting the Telton facility. It will be beautiful.
I'd ask if he was insane, but Jack's standing right there.
Are you nuts? You lived it!
Okay, she agrees with me, and we have to convince her it would be pointless to kill him, which finally makes her realize that carrying this with her isn't worth it. What she's seen by coming back tells her things were both as she remembered it, and yet different enough that, well, the hate isn't there anymore. She can move on.
I want to stop coming back here.
At least after blowing the crap out of the place. Well, hopefully that'll lead to things being quieted on the...
Commander, Jack and Miranda are in the middle of a disagreement. Can you head it off before they tear out a bulkhead?
Oh, son of a... You had one job, Miranda!
The cheerleader won't admit what Cerberus did to me was wrong.
It wasn't Cerberus. Not really. But clearly you were a mistake.
Cerberus hired them, gave them the base and their tech, and approved their plans. So, yes, it was. And you just crossed the line. This is no different from you carrying sympathy for what you went through with your father. But at least you lived in a lap of luxury while being pressured to succeed and were stolen from your family and tortured through the formative years of your life, all for the benefits of everyone but you. Go to your corner, Miranda!
My opinion is the one that matters. You two keep a deck apart at all times.
She can't be trusted, Shepard. She'll jeopardize the whole mission.
The only person I have ever seen as jeopardizing this mission is you, Miranda. Now shut up.
You don't know what it's like, Shepard, to have garbage like that following you. It marks you in ways you don't expect.
There is honestly not a good response here, and I do not like either of the ones given. For the burdens of command cannot be comparable to the atrocities Jack has had inflicted upon her.
I know that place is gone, but I still kind of want to kill every person I see. No offense. You did a lot, Shepard. Shit. I'm not good at this soft stuff. Just... thanks, okay?
Lastly of our available loyalty missions is Samara, who's finally finished tracking her prey to no one's surprise, Omega. This is the closest she's been in a long time, so wants to grab her ASAP. Actually, considering we don't really conceptualize well the passage of time and how long it's been since Shepard's been back in the timeline, it's entirely possible Morinth was on Omega when we first went there. Yeah, her perp is Morinth, who is Samara's daughter. One of the reasons Asari prefer to mate with other species is the phenomena of the Ardak Yakshi began to appear in their bloodlines. Though how one passes a bloodline trait through a melding of minds and information is anyone's guess. As previously established, when an Asari becomes pregnant, the genes of the child are scrambled and remapped using whatever's taken from the meld. Ardak Yakshi are essentially comparable to succubi, in that when in the throes of a meld, the individuals can't shut off the contact and end up draining their victims dry of their knowledge, talents, and power. Coupled with mental domination abilities, they're really only missing the bat wings, tail, and horn, or head wings if you prefer the Morgan Ainsland look. And worse for Samara, while there are Asari who have recessive or lesser versions of the affliction, she is a parent to the only 3 full-blown Ardat Yakshi. Her other daughters, Falair and Rila, forced into seclusion and imprisoned for it, while Morinth had been sucking people dry for longer than humanity's had electricity. The entire reason she became a Justicar and forsook most of what comforts she did have, all born from her wish to stop Morinth's spree of death. For, as her mother, she was responsible for bringing these atrocities into existence. So, it's off to Omega, where Arya gives her expected response to beings like Morinth being on the station.
I knew it. Nothing leaves a body quite so empty as an Ardat Yakshi does.
You haven't taken steps to kill her?
Why would I? She hasn't tried to seduce me.
Well, we owe Grunt a lap dance anyways. I wonder if we could use him as bait for this little trap. She directs us to the home of her last victim, her mother willing to help since, well, we believe her that it was a murder. Getting an idea of what Morinth likes in her prey, both from conversation and raiding the dead girl's room. There's something that seems wrong about doing that in a video game. At least with CSI games, there's the whole emotional detachment thing going on which dampens such as a response. Yes, I own CSI games. I didn't always have the most refined choices in game selection, and this was before almost every crime drama on television went to complete crap. It's a sad day when the best one on television is iZombie, which is a comic book adaptation from the people who brought us Veronica Mars and stars a former Power Ranger. Rose McIver is very good in that, by the way. Nice to see she's doing well for herself. I had a point here somewhere and I completely lost it. Well, obviously we need someone to play bait, as storming her castle, as Samara says, is an easy way for her to disappear. We're putting someone else in the firing line, right? I mean, nearly every discussion we end up having with Callie implies she's an extreme xenophile. She'd probably squee over getting an actual date with...
Afterlife's VIP section seems her preferred hunting ground. You must go there alone and unarmed.
Oh, goddammit. So, yeah, we meander around the bar, doing mini-quests around the place, to draw Morinth's attention to get her in dialogue options where we lie to her so she'll take us back to her place. So, a normal night at a club then? I wouldn't know, I've never been. Don't have the time.
I love clubs. People, movement, heat. I can still hear the bass like the drums of a great hunt out for your blood. But here, it's muted, and you're safe. Is that what you want, Shepard?
People feel safest right before they die.
I just love the subtext to this entire thing. She's speaking in double talk as she closes in on her prey, not realizing we're doing the same while buying time for Samara to reach us and spring the trap.
Look into my eyes and tell me you want me. Tell me you'd kill for me. Anything I want.
And once more, I went far too Paragon in this playthrough to get the really entertaining option. Damn it. Oh well.
Don't count on it.
Morinth! Mother.
Ooh! Usually it's the one who's with the daughter that gets slammed like that. Still, as they fight, I can't help but continually think, gee, a gun might be a really good thing to try and use, as they throw around what seems to be ineffective force blasts. And I really should not be thinking that about their super magic biotic powers. Wait, that wasn't me. I guess biotic tools screw with sound or their emotions drowned it out. Actually, this is where I hit a bug. Another of several in this game that have never been patched. This one having the sound cut out and the game soon after crashing. As far as I was able to tell, an early indication it's going to happen is by that echo you hear in my capture footage. Most of the others relate to environmental maps not holding to the physics engine, but there are a few that pop up around the dialogue chains. Another notable one being that somehow you can trigger the wrong conversation with Shalaran on the Raya, skipping the trial entirely, but as a consequence can't go to the Alarai, and thus never complete Tali's loyalty mission. And a third on Tuchanka, where somehow you end up bifurcating the team into the rafters of the complex with absolutely no way out. Best way I and many others have found around them is to just reset the last missions where possible and play it again, in hopes you don't trip the specific events that caused the bug to spawn, which can be as simple as a differing dialogue choice, or complex as how you move around the map. I actually had to replay the area 4 times to get past this mission as a result, and every time my audio cut out at their clash. And keep in mind, I install my games onto my hard drives when possible if I'm going to be playing them for extended periods, like I do when I capture footage, so I don't have to worry about wearing down or scratching the disc from use. So one can't even say such wasn't reading correctly or needed to be cleaned. This is the game data itself that's causing this to pop up. But anyways, we intercede since the two are equally powerful. Morinth trying to trick us into killing Samara, but you know what? That's just not going to fly.
Find peace in the embrace of the goddess.
Ow! Fatality. Samara wins.
I am ready to leave this place and get on with my life. Are you ready to go as well?
Do you want to talk about what happened?
You want to talk about it?
Yeah, that is ridiculously callous phrasing for being given the dialogue option of, "Are you okay?" What the hell?
Shepard, what do you think I will say? What can I say? I just killed the bravest and smartest of my daughters.
Because though she had committed heinous acts, she still took a chance to live. Truly live out in the cosmos, and take in the beauty of life, and not be sequestered in solitude. A pity there's no way to suppress the affliction, but that would likely kill part of who they were as an Asari. It's kind of sad when you think about it. Morinth became a monster because she chose to take a chance and live.
Morinth haunted my dreams and waking hours equally. For the first time in 400 years, I am free. I am a ruined vessel of sorrow and regret, but I am free. It is not a feeling I can describe. She was the strongest and smartest. She would not accept the injustice thrust upon her. She fought to the end. I am so proud of her, Shepard.
It's at this point I start doing a few odd job missions to pad resources, superfluous mini-quests that I don't feel like addressing in these reviews, and the Firewalker side missions. These just get annoying as I don't ever feel there's a point to them aside from getting paid for the data in all of these abandoned complexes. It's just to avoid going to retrieve the IFF device that can get us through Omega-4 from its resting place. A Derelict Reaper. This kind of pissed me off the first time I saw it. Why? This is evidence! This is evidence that Nazara wasn't a Geth capital ship as has been claimed, as it's been floating in space for millennia, killed by a supermassive Mass Effect shot that ripped a tear in a planet. The evidence Cerberus used to track it down by mapping the trajectory of a likely path with respect to stellar drift. It would be the proof the Citadel Council and the other civilized races of the cosmos need that the Reapers are a real threat and they are coming. Hell, the absence of the Cerberus science team and the records of their descent into indoctrinated madness also provides empirical evidence of the Reapers' even passive brainwashing ability when lying dead in space. Who knows how many indoctrinated are now among the Citadel races due to all the debris Nazara showered across the Citadel. We have no idea what components of them caused the effect, so it could literally be anything. I mean, this is an enormous missed opportunity. Why did we not bring anyone that could verify what we say? Lead an expeditionary fleet to it to get it on record that Shepard's not a delusional false prophet. Even if it delays in getting the IFF, that advanced warning and collusion of forces could be the difference between salvation and destruction against the oncoming hordes. Hell, bring Arya! Or contact Liara and have her new Shadowbroker contact disseminate the information to every government and organization she can, so they'll all collectively be worried. Galaxy-wide extermination is bad for business. Even if they prioritize their own survival, they should be on board to support anything that's working to stop it. Instead, we start off as so focused on getting the IFF for a short-term problem that we miss the benefits that can be reaped of mediating a long-term one in not showing to others that this exists. Because obviously no one has implemented my thing about combat recorders as visual evidence of this, nor has the constant connection to Edie and her records given useful information that can be applied to such claims. It still has to be physical evidence. And we are standing on it, but don't show it to anyone. Naturally, the ship is infested with husks that were formerly the Cerberus research team. Because that's how you tell this was a Cerberus operation. Actually, there seems to be far too many husks for the supposed unit. Like, well over 100. My god, they learned to climb walls! Now we must be cautious of assault from all angles. And of course, once we even get to the IFF, the Cerberus team extracted, the Reaper shields have been raised, so we have to destroy its secondary power core to get them down, which is the only thing keeping it from plummeting deeper into the atmosphere of the gas giant it's suspended in, where it would be crushed like a tin can, and the entire reason why we have to fight through a ridiculous amount of husks in the first place. Go to the Reaper, they said. It'll be easy, they said. But we are at least given a hand.
Shepard, Commander.
Ladies and gentlemen, our last recruit, an individual sentient Geth. It goes on ahead, trying to shut down the core on its own, only to get blindsided. Ouch! Damn, Legion. You think one of your amalgamated runtimes would have been using your body's optical receptors to keep an eye out. Yeah, we bring it with when we evacuate, after a very long battle with wall-crawling husks, while trying to shoot the core to destruction. Though Tally tries to discourage us doing that, but as she says, no one currently living has ever managed to get one intact, let alone talk with it. And since the Reaper is now destroyed, might as well get something out of it.
An intact Geth would be invaluable to Cerberus' cyber weapons division.
Yeah, and knowing them, they'd find a way to take it from non-hostile to mom's-friendly killbots, with one hacking of its runtimes. Taylor happened to be on Eden Prime, I guess, and wants to space it himself. But as I've always played Shepard as a synthetic sympathizer, we're going down to the AI core to wake the Geth up, and see if we can strike up a conversation. Plus, we have Edie in the case it tries to pull something. I'm curious why it has some old N7 armor bolted onto it.
There was a hole.
Okay, but why?
No data available.
You don't know, do you?
No.
This Geth we end up naming Legion, simply from lack of option. I wanted to name him Waffles, personally. Legion is an amalgamation of 1,183 Geth programs into a pseudo-AI. The platform they take, a prototype body, meant to house the lot of them simultaneously for interaction with organic beings, without the need for multiple bodies to even have a conversation. It was originally dispatched from the Geth Collective to meet up with us so as to ally against the threat of the Reapers, espousing on the whole Geth-Heretic distinction, and several other bits about the Geth I've supplied previously, and revealing that pretty much everything on the extranet they have access to for information, so don't normally need to venture out and interact with other races to get details. They must have seen a lot of porn. Really hope none of them ever subscribe to Fornax.
Geth build our own future. The heretics asked the old machines to give them the future. They are no longer part of us. We were studying the old machines' hardware to protect our future. Geth believe all intelligent life should self-determinate.
Freedom is the right of all sentient beings.
Why would they attack other machines?
We are different from them, outside their plans.
This is a bit of a spoiler for Mass Effect 3, and I'm betting some of my fans have already played it, but the entire point of the Reaper Cullings is to preserve all life from the robot apocalypse, so that organic beings can continue to grow and thrive and evolve by killing all of them once they reach a specified point of development. Yeah, that reason makes absolutely no sense and is widely hypocritical, because the Reapers are the robot apocalypse. But instead of doing it once, they do it repeatedly. The reason the Geth are outside of their plans is the Geth don't want to commit genocide, they want to live. It's something they've never come across in the cycles of devastation, and it's all perpetrated by one question.
Do these units have a soul?
I went over this a bit when I reviewed Mass Effect 1, but I'm really curious about a timeline where, instead of discouraging and trying to eliminate the network sentience that first asked this question leading to the Morning War, what would have happened had the Quarians tried to find out? Anyways, our purposes against the Reapers are aligned, so what the hell? We let them join up. Legion is sadly a lost opportunity for interaction. As the Derelict Reaper happens so late in the game chronology, you're done with pretty much everything already in preparation for the final suicide mission. The only way to get him to hear the dialogues for events to play out is to either skip past a hell of a lot of stuff, which leaves you vastly unprepared for the final mission and has great chances of ending with you dead, or if you have the PC version of the game, you can cheat having him in early. Which is sad because, as you can probably tell, I really like Legion, both as a character and what he symbolizes. That the Reaper's supposed point of existence is fundamentally flawed from the most basic of conclusions, as organics and artificial life can coexist and interact without conflict breaking out, and that once the threat of the Reapers is gone for good, they can all work together to build a future that's better for all of. But it's not all good news, for the reason Legion went to the Derelict Reaper in the first place was to pull data from its systems to assist in protecting the Geth against hacking. See, they've discovered the heretics are planning to spread whatever Nazara did to them to the rest of the Geth.
Over time, the virus will change us, make us conclude that worshipping the old machines is correct.
And that's telling, as though the heretics left over irreconcilable differences, they didn't leave wanting to attack their fellow Geth programs. They too have been corrupted and indoctrinated. As Legion explains it, this is by introducing a processing error in the most basic parts of their programs, which has a cascading effect. It's finding the right one to change which is the problem, and likely what Rael was researching as well. And this is bad as... well, the Heretic Geth we've been fighting, they were a fraction of the forces the rest of the Geth can bring to bear. And due to the greater Geth network, they could all be infected by this and ready for war in a day. So it's off to save the galaxy from robot holocaust. Again, the Heretic's base is out in the depths of space, simply because as AI, they don't need to inhabit a planet in the first place. So, why are the Geth still on Rannoch? Seriously, it's a big bargaining chip for the cessation of hostilities. The Geth know their creators are desperate for a world to inhabit.
No data available.
Of course not. How many problems are solved in this series if people would just talk to one each other and hear everyone out? The Heretic base isn't exactly hospitable for organics, but what do you expect for beings that don't need air, water, food, or gravity? Just power. Actually, you probably know what would have allowed them to avoid the whole morning war situation. Made them reliant on alcohol.
A problem that solves itself? That sounds like a job for me. Bender.
Though Legion discovers the situation is worse than expected. The virus ready to be deployed, and will be very soon. That's bad. But Legion can use the data he obtained to be able to override the virus and turn on the heretics. That's good. However, this would be no different from indoctrinating the heretics again, and continue to be symbolic of the destruction of one's own free will and ability to choose and define their own destiny. That's bad. But hey, more forces to fight the Reapers with, and they'd have access to whatever the Reapers have given them, which could be invaluable in the coming war. That's good. And there's no guarantee that the events the heretics have carried out won't disseminate to the other Geth, and cause other problems down the line, with this new information in and of itself acting as a corrupting influence and cancer in their ranks, and lead to the Geth truly becoming rampant, kill organics synthetic entities. As we've been shown previously, that such is more insidious to get rid of, that turning this virus against them might not solve. Informed by Legion on the way through the construct, learning the heretics had planned a siege of the rest of the Geth by leaving spies in their numbers. Something that is baffling as, due to how the Geth network, they don't keep secrets from other of their number, being completely anathema to the core of their existence.
That's bad.
Can I go now?
Yeah, this is another no-win scenario from my perspective, especially as I bring Tally with. Once more to try and give an educated view to someone with a blindly informed stance on the subject. Overwrite the heretics, and this could prove problematic for not only the Quarians, but the rest of the galaxy down the line by affecting how the Geth consensus thinks. But go straight for destruction loses intel we could use, and I get the feeling that while Legion understands why we would choose such, there's some level of resentment within whatever emotional reactions the Geth have developed. But yeah, this is another always choose this choice event in the games, where while you're given the illusion that you can do as you wish, the interactions you've had always lead to it being predetermined by the weight of the consequences that are likely to result given your information and the trends of the series. These aren't what-ifs or this could have changed such, like Malon was positing to justify his Genophage research. What the heretics may have gained could still be poison to the rest of the Geth. So we sneak our way through the complex, destroying program hubs to get past doors, and to kill active platforms, until we reach the main console, trigger the self-destruct, and skedaddle out of Dodge as the place goes up in a reactor overload. Kinda sad, really. But at least Tally got to blow up a lot of heretics to continents having to help the Greater Geth collect.
Commander, Tally just went to have a chat with Legion. You better get down to the AI core.
Oh, god damn it.
I caught Legion scanning my Omni tool. It was going to send data about the flotilla back to the Geth.
Creators performed weapons tests and were discussing plans to attack us. We believed it necessary to warn our people.
Well, those are both good, logical, and mature reasons for being at each other's throats. Which you could say the same for other members of our crew. And yeah, they are both in the wrong here, but again for better reasons. Loyalty to their peoples and wanting to protect their own. but it's not needed. While it's important for Legion to let the rest of the Geth know about what happened, Rael failed, and Tali's only acting like this because the only evidence of his crime is with her. That data could make things worse for everyone, no matter who gets it.
Sooner or later, you're both gonna have to stop fighting this war, or we'll all end up paying for it.
So, this gets them to compromise. What Legion took is off limits to relay, but Tali gives up some other details as part of the transmission in exchange. Not a perfect solution, but at least they're not at each other's throats. Well, what else do we have to do to get ready?
The IFF is nearly installed, Shepard. However, I must test its impact on the Normandy systems.
Oh, great! Then we won't have any problems when we use it. Guess we'll just take the...
I have detected a signal embedded in the static. We are transmitting the Normandy's location.
Well, crap. Yeah, the collectors come in and start to abduct the ship. Systems going offline due to the anomalous data the IFF has in it taking over the system. Here's my question. How did the collectors, and by proxy the Reapers, know about us going after the IFF and installing it to even set this off? Did it just send some type of signal when it became active again and it just noticed it? Or was the transmitting signal part of the device's normal functions? As from the dialogue beforehand, it seemed like it was doing other things as well. Did the indoctrinated Cerberus members tip them off? This trap in this situation didn't make sense to me from a narrative standpoint why it would come about from this thing. Everyone I've talked to about it just saying it's just more malignant Reaper equipment, which makes me ask, what part of a Reaper isn't going to screw people over by interacting with it? So it's up to Joker to save the ship. And unlike the beginning of the game, where there was no chance of him doing that, EDI walks him through how we'll be able to do it, using the ship's service hatches to get around the collectors, collecting the rest of the crew. To first unshackle her AI's capabilities to take over the ship in its entirety and get rid of the malignant data.
Great, this is where it starts. We're just all organic batteries, guess who they'll blame?
Of course, no one can be told what the Matrix is. We have to ask why we have a Matrix in the first place. And then he needs to reactivate the FTL systems in engineering as well.
You want me to go crawling through the ducts again?
I enjoy the sight of humans on their knees. That is a joke.
So, yeah. From there, EDI can vent the ship's atmosphere to get rid of the collectors, saving the ship, but not the crew. And now we have something of the Catch-22 invoked by this. If you follow immediately after the collectors, you can actually save the entirety of the crew from the collectors' plans. But you might not be ready to take that on, depending on how you've played the game. Delay, and do anything else, and they are dead. It's why getting Legion becomes annoying, as it ends up being one quest and then everybody might be dead, Dave. It's the big reason why I rarely, if ever, get Legion before I've done literally everything else. 'Cause then we're kind of stuck, and I'd like to go after the crew immediately. However, because this is all recorded anyways, I can actually discuss the last few missions before we get to the game-ending suicide mission. Guess what we're doing next time? Whoa. Hey boss, what you need? Can you get started on editing for me? I'm kind of exhausted. I need sleep. You had the energy to summon me. You can't be that. Physical exhaustion. As an energy construct, you wouldn't be feeling that. Oh, right. Always forget about that when you do this. Just get through what you can. I'll be crashing in the living room. Okay. Okay, so what do we have here?